Good afternoon, guys, and welcome to another Daily Bread video. On Friday's video, we had a little brief forecast on what we were expecting. So let's just run over Friday's price action. We did have this level sort of marked out here to sort of retrace to see if we can push lower, taking out the ash and then pushing lower. And we also had this level down here that I've been talking about for a while. But then we also this level down here is what I've said that a lot of people have been marking out on their charts because they're expecting it to come into this and go higher. But I've been talking about this sort of level over here. Look, we've got all this liquidity, this session liquidity, all these lows over here that I'd be looking to sort of take out and maybe tap into this zone before potentially pushing higher to come back down again. So let's just sort of roll in and see what we've got. Let's just turn off our range and let's sort of see what happens. As always, we start at 6 o'clock. Now we have sort of come down into, I've got a 5 minute, this is a 15 minute here, but we jump down to the 5 minute and just sort of show you what that level is that we're sort of come down. We've had a bit of a push off. We broke some sort of high over here. So these could be our sort of early buyers in the night during Asia session. Made our session high, made our session low. And obviously, as always, going by a four-step process, we followed by the structure, followed by the liquidity. So we want to see one of these taken before we push up. So now if we tap down and take out this Asian session low and push higher, we do have a little bit of IPA just below here. And we also have a block just below here on the 5 minute, which I think is this sort of 15 minute sort of just down here. So that is also worth keeping an eye on. So as we jump over to the 5 minute, let's just start price action and see how we get on. Now, I'm just going to jump down to the 1 minute here as we've just taken out the Asian session low as we sort of coming into the start just before Frankfurt. Now, we took out this one. I am mindful that we could push lower, but as always, we just follow the price action. So we've taken out Asian session low with a lovely little sweep. Let's just level this out. So we're actually like here with a lovely little sweep and a push higher. What we do want to see is obviously like these big engulfing candles and these impulse to the upside. Now, as we do this, we do create some relatively equal highs for us to target. And then as we come back down, we test back into this wick and then push higher, creating some more equal highs. So this is what I really liked. So what I actually did is I took a sell from this level here, included this wick. So this was our supply and demand zone. I don't think I took it on the first touch because I wanted to see if it was going to come lower, but I did like how we now created this equal high and this equal high. We've had these early buyers as we've sort of pushed up here, creating some more sort of equal highs up here. We was looking like we was going to sort of come off this zone. I liked this sort of big wick down as we took out the Asian session low, as we're sort of coming in before Frankfurt. So as we sort of played through, we looked like we had, again, another sort of strong push off. And then as we come back down into here, as we come back down into this section, we started to push off. So I actually took my buy from this level here with my stop loss literally just below this sort of wick here. And then I could get my 1 to 5 in just above here. So my 1 to 5, as you know, I always look for 1 to 5s, remove 80%, move my stop loss to entry, and leave 20% to run. The reason I liked this level is we had a lot of liquidity up at this higher sort of level. We also obviously still had to target the ash up here, but we do sort of have some sort of levels in here that we could push up to clear this sort of liquidity if we're going to push lower. Obviously, I could get my 1 to 5 in here, so I was happy just to sort of target these highs. And then as soon as I entered, it actually pushed down. I was thinking, oh no, we're just going to come lower down to this lower block. But then we had this lovely engulfing candle, which sort of reassured me. But as always, once I've entered the trade, I'm happy to risk my 1%. So off we went, and actually we pretty much was job done in about 5 minutes. I removed 80% of my money and left 20% on there risk free. Now, what we did actually do is come and clear some of this liquidity. Played around a little bit up here. Played around a little bit up here, and then we end up just pushing lower. Now, as we come down here and push lower, I had the next 5-minute zone marked out in case. So this was the 5-minute zone just underneath here. That's the last push down there. Yeah, so that was our last 5-minute push zone down here. So now I'm thinking, was I just in the, obviously, because I got in at 6:30, Frankfurt doesn't open till 7. So was this just the early sort of buyers as we sort of push down? So then I was looking for an entry as we come back down here. And we actually do tap into this sort of 5-minute zone, this being the last down candle here. And then as we sort of come down, we come all the way back down, take that one out, push up, create these sort of equal highs along here. So now I had this level marked out here, and this is where I was looking to long from. So as I put my long in here, pushed up, but as you know, we then just kept going higher. We never actually come back down into this sort of level. So this was the sort of level I was looking for. And then when we did create these sort of equal lows down here, I was looking just to pop them out. And then I would have looked to see what sort of price action we got if we was just going to come into this wick here or this wick here. But because I'd already taken my 5% here, I wasn't too bothered. I wanted to make sure we got the best entry, which I never actually caught then. So yeah, we had a nice 1 to 5 to start the day off just here. So let's just remove that off. After taking the agent session low, creating the equal highs, I'll push up into this was probably our equal our early buyers and not just this one. But I was happy to take that as I could get my 1 to 5 in within the structure. And obviously we had the structure, we had the liquidity, we had the S&D, and we had our confirmation. So I was happy to take that trade. This isn't the one. This just didn't work out for us, which ended up being our big move up to take the Asian session high and into our order block that I spoke about earlier and on Friday's video. So what did we actually react off? We actually reacted off this 5-minute here. So this was the actual one we've done, and then we sort of pushed off, made our equal highs, and then if you'd marked out this sort of zone here, depending on where you had your stop loss, if you had your stop loss down below this one, just in case we come back into it lower, then that would have been a great trade. Or if you had it just below, you would have been taken out. So I was happy to wait for the entry that I did. It was a more high probability level and sort of better confirmation. But there's nothing wrong with taking that entry as we come back down into this level, because we had the equal highs and it was playing out with the early buyers. I think Rachel did catch this, so well done. So now as we push up higher, taking out the Asian session low, we've also got the trend line liquidity across here. So that was another good confirmation. We come back up into this level. Now, we're still well in my time, but as we push up into this level, we have a bit of rejection and we just sort of end up trickling away. Now, there was no real confirmation for me. As you know, I want to see it sort of slow down in front of this level, create some sort of liquidity, wipe it out, push down, create some equal lows or break some sort of structure, and then come back in before the down, before we can look for a down move. But as you can see, we just kind of end up trickling away. And the problem with entering a trade, as we look like this on the down thing, we could end up just having some sort of trend line liquidity and then push higher. And then that's when we might get our down move, or we could just carry on pushing up, because all we're doing is just sort of pulling back. So there was no sort of entry here for me. Obviously, I know that some people like to set pending orders off here, but there was no confirmation-based entry. And if you do want to know more about the POI selection process that I go through, I did make a video on Friday, which is posted in the extra lesson, so please do go check it out. Now, we've come into nearly to the end of my session now as we push sort of down. So I had no more trades. Now, again, this is why this area down here, which I know from various other groups and on Twitter and things like that, a lot of people was looking to long from here, like smart money, looking to clear some of this liquidity, reject this and push higher, and people would just set their pending order on here. Now, the reason I wait for confirmation is the reason why we're about to see. Yes, this looks like a good area because we're following the structure. So yes, we've got our structure ticked, but liquidity, what sort of liquidity is taken? The Asian session, no, but something else I covered on the POI lesson, what is below it? So below it, we do have all this liquidity. We also got this other S&D with a bit of IPA, so it's definitely worth doing, watching out for this level. This is why I would wait for some sort of confirmation at this level. If we got the confirmation here, I'd be happy to take it. But because we didn't get no confirmation and we are now out of side of my session time, because we are bang on 10:25, it was outside my range, so I wasn't even really looking at it. And what happened, we didn't get any confirmation. We just kept trickling down. We had a little pop up here, so we just about stayed in it. So we didn't really make any equal highs. If we'd come up to this sort of level here, made some equal highs, then pushed down and maybe looked for down here. But again, this is why your timing is key, because at the minute we're in the middle of nowhere. We're in between 10 and 1 o'clock. So after we've had our move during London, we could just keep trickling down. This is why it's important to wait till 1 o'clock, because then as New York opens, they would go searching for more liquidity and just take out these sort of early buyers just here. So what sort of happens? Let's just switch to 5 minutes so we can speed things up. What happens? We come up, we don't really make any highs, we tap into this zone and we end up pushing lower. Now, if we just jump down to the 1 minute here, we have now cleared out all that liquidity over to the left. We do have this IPA level that we just tapped into, but I was looking for it to push lower. Again, structure, liquidity, and then we have to wait for our S&D. So yes, we had some sort of structure. Still in our bullish structure to the upside, with this one now being our internal low, but we are still in this sort of range here where to push higher. So yes, we've got the structure, yes, we've got the liquidity, but no, we didn't have the S&D. And jumping down, we come down, push down again, broke some structure, but we didn't really come back into any sort of S&D. There wasn't really anything left behind. It was sort of no IPAs or anything like that to get that sort of confirmation-based entry to push higher. So again, there wasn't anything for me. Yes, I missed out on this trade because we do end up just pushing. But I'm happy to miss out on them trades because I'd taken my confirmation-based entry. I've made my money for the day, and I knew that I could be in and out that trade without any worry. Now, what ended up happening is on Friday afternoon, if we just jump over to UJ, Friday afternoon around the same sort of time, the Bank of Japan decided that it was their time to start intervening with UJ. So what they've been now saying for the last couple of weeks, which I did report on I think I put it in the chat maybe, that they don't want UJ above 140 because it's bad for their economy. So as you can see, we come back up and they tried to bring it back down to 140. We've been trickling away. And they put a statement out saying that they would step in, but they're not going to say when they're going to step in. So strategically, they did it on a Friday afternoon. Now, I know a lot of people now have been sort of waiting to short JPY pairs. So as soon as this starts happening, people thinking this is going to be the big short. This is going to be the big short. We need to be involved. We need to be involved. Everyone enters the market, either here or even down here because they're panicking. And now what's going to happen? So for me, what's going to happen now is New York's going to come in. The Asian session will come in and we'll just start bringing price back up, taking out all these people that have sort of jumped in this bandwagon as they're starting to see these big candles to the downside, thinking that this is going to be the big move that they're waiting for to bring the level all the way back down into these sort of monthly zones down here. We can just remove that one off now. This is the sort of level we're coming back down into this sort of monthly level at the very least, before maybe getting another push higher, which I think we can see better on the monthly. Obviously, this is where we can see we come down, we push down, we had a big push up. We're going to come back down at least this monthly, maybe to get another push up. Or Bank of Japan will step in higher and then just keep driving price down. So now what would I expect for UJ? I would expect at the start of next week, this to sort of trickle back now, probably even push higher one more time and take out all these early sellers and stuff now, take everybody out. And it's important to remember that on Friday next week, the Bank of Japan do have their interest rates where they could change. At the moment, they're put out a statement saying they're going to keep it neutral like they have done for God knows how many years now. All the other central banks are changing their interest rates and hiking rates like we've been through before. Literally every single bank, but it's only Japan that haven't. But they're going to have to step in soon because they are above their 140 target. So everybody knows this. So this is why it's gone slow down, because everyone's been trying to short. Then all of a sudden, Friday afternoon, they've pushed down. Do I think that this is do I think this is the move? No, I think this is going to trickle down, take them out, and then we're either going to have some sort of surprise interest rate change on Friday, or before Friday happens, like they say, you buy the rumor, sell the fact. So before Friday happens, people are going to think that they are actually going to change their rates on Friday. So Wednesday, Thursday, we might actually see that bigger move down. And then maybe on Friday a pullback, or on Friday we just keep pushing. So do I think we've missed out on this move? No. I mean, I don't really trade anything other than your USD, but this does affect the USD. As you can see, at the same time we did have that big push up. So that is definitely worth noting. So for me now, forecasting for this week, we have come back up into this H4 level just here. So could we see some sort of reversal from here and push down? Maybe that would sort of in line with the structure, because overall we are bearish. Could we see another push up? But what we do have just sitting above all these highs just up here, again, liquidity. And the same as like we did down here when everyone was trying to short this level, some go long from this level, we do have all the liquidity just below. So again, we've got our level, we've got all the liquidity above, we've got last week's high. Could we take out that liquidity and then push lower? That is what I'm expecting for EU this week. But it'll be well worth keeping an eye on, because like what I said with UJ, we'll during the Asian session and going into Monday, will we just have that sort of correction? So we could come from this H4, it's definitely, but we would like to see that confirmation. But I personally would like to see this liquidity taken that's sitting all above these highs just over here, take them out, and then maybe get the bigger short. Going into this week, we do have on Thursday, we've got the Euro news, the interest rate change, which again, we're going to be hiking by 75 break points. This is now going to take us up to 2%. So this could be our big move down. As always, the banks like to try and factor this price in beforehand. So we could see this big move down earlier on in the week. As shared over on my Twitter page, So go check that out about the 75 points. There's this nice article on here explaining all the details of what could happen. On there, they're saying that obviously we have had this bullish momentum, but they are expecting to be short-lived. So if we do come up and take this sort of liquidity, we could look for our bigger move down. And overall, coming to the end of the year, we are looking at this 92 level expected by the end of the year. So could we look to take our new lower low sort of coming into the next couple of weeks? So yeah, my options would be to wait now till sort of London open tomorrow, see if we're going to get some sort of see what happens in the Asian market, if we do get some sort of push down, or if we are going to take this liquidity out, and then we could look for some sort of Asian session play during London open, and then I'll sort of push down. Now, one thing I do need to touch on still is I did catch a short that I've missed to talk about. Let's just take this off here. So we had this London high just up here. We come back and took this out, induced in some sort of early sellers just before that. We did then push up, come down, and we created these equal lows, which I really liked. So we are taking out the liquidity, push down, create these equal lows, and we come back up. And I had this level marked out just up here. This level marked out just up here, which I shorted from short position. I actually shorted from here as we come back up and touched it. My stop loss just above here, which we actually come back up and then took me out. This is why I don't ever move it. But I just about got a 1 to 5 just here. Removed my 80%, moved to break even, and left the rest to run, which was obviously taken out before we pushed up higher. So on Friday we had the 2 trades. All the other trades, and there wasn't really anything else for me other than our 2 trades. So that ended up being a nice week last week, just waiting for them confirmation-based entry. Yes, we missed some of the bigger moves, but we don't need to be making that much money. We just need to, if we can just get that one trade that's a 1 to 5, even if you've got a couple of them, then that is absolutely lovely. I think I ended the week on sort of like 16% for the week. I mean, if you could do that every week, then you'd be absolutely laughing. Just waiting for them confirmation-based entries. So the best thing now is maybe go back over and have a look at the video where I talk about the POI selection, of why I wouldn't have really liked this sort of level, and I wouldn't have sort of set any order blocks on there and wait for that confirmation-based entry. Obviously, in that I do say that I understand that people can't be on the charts all the time. So to obviously, if you do gonna set the orders, make sure they are the best levels, make sure to see what's below, make sure to see where there's any liquidity sat below, and I go for a bit of a checklist on that lesson, so go check that out. Also, last week we did the launch of the podcast. If you haven't watched that already, go give that a watch. It's got some great value in it. And Costa was a great first guest to have on. There will be another podcast out probably later in the week, and we have got another special guest coming on. I think she's a little bit nervous at the moment, but hopefully she will be fine. Also, guys, we now have our Instagram, Facebook, and now, as of yesterday, our Twitter page set up. So I am going to be more active on there, posting up different articles and things we're looking at. So please come give us a follow. I'll stick the details in the announcements underneath this video. So come give us a follow, and I'll be sharing a lot more stuff on there as well as the group. Hope this helps. Drop me a message if there's anything else you need, and I'll catch you soon.